Okay, welcome back to Summer Pali Intensive Part 2. I'm Stephen Sas, and once again, on behalf of Baos, the Chuanyan Monastery, and the Wuju Memorial Library, we are pleased to offer you this new set of classes on Pali. We've been working with the Gare and Karuna Tilaka textbook, a new course in reading Pali. In the initial set of 10 classes, we had covered lessons 1 and 2, and now we are busily working on lesson 3. And so without much further ado, let me call up my file and share my screen for you, and we'll launch back into what's called the Milinda Panha, the questions of King Milinda, which, as we said, was a rather late text in the world of Pali, certainly after the Buddha lived, and it's a question and answer session, rather long, between a king who is called in Pali Milinda, who I think is called Menander in Greek. He was Greek, although he was, I think, born in Afghanistan and lived in northwest India, and a monk named Nagasena, Bhante Nagasena. So I thought I would just do a review. We spent quite a bit of time going through this in our last session, but I thought I would do a little bit again to make sure we're all very clear about the grammatical aspects of this text. And so we have the vocative to start out with here, Nagasena. He's addressed by the classic Bhante, Venerable Nagasena. And we have, this text is based on 2 verbs which represent 2 different concepts, 2 differing concepts about what happens after one dies. And so we have one of them being sankamati, which we might say transmigrates. We'll use one transmigrates. And this is the sort of view that one possesses a soul or a fixed essence which after birth passes somewhere else. And the other one is down here in dark blue as well, pati sandahati. This would be, I think, the Buddhist view. We can call this one is reborn, where there's something that transmits from one life to the next, but since the Buddha taught everything is impermanent, it is not a soul. And so here we have the verb atti. So we talked about last class that there are 2 main verbs to express the idea to be. One of them, we said perhaps the more existential one, is atti. Is or is there? It's sort of a question, does this exist? So that's more of an ontological, so to speak, kind of is. And then we have this word kochi. This is called an indefinite pronoun. It's formed from the interrogative pronoun ko plus this clitic piece chi. They go together and it has the sense of anyone or any. And then we have satto in the nominative. This is a being. So kochi satto. Is there anyone? And we have now yo, a relative pronoun, who or that. Transmigrates here in our verb sankamati. Notice too that the I at the end is lengthened because it is coming right before the end quote. And then we have the direction. The first place is expressed in the ablative, imam hakaya, from this body. So this is imang, our demonstrative pronoun, to anangkaya, another body. And the answer comes, nahi maharaja, certainly not great king. And now in our next sentence, we have a present participle based on the verb sankamati, but notice that it has this nt ending, which tells us that it's a present participle, and it's declined in the nominative. That's our letter O at the end. And so this is functioning as the subject, as present participles often do. So if yadi natti, once again our verb to be, if there is not one transmigrating imamhakaya from this body, anyankayang, to another body, nanu. So this is our interrogative. Then there will be. Will there be? So this is the other verb to be, bhavati, expressed in the future tense. So notice that in this very sentence we have the two different verbs to be, bhavati and ati, juxtaposed in the very same sentence. Will there be a liberated one, a mutto, liberated? Will there be one liberated from papakehi kamehi, evil kama, in the plural, ablative? And so the answer is yes. And I think we can talk about how this is now the same verb, pati sandahati, expressed in the optative. And so the optative is expressing, it's a form of the verb which is expressing a potential or a condition, a possibility, not necessarily a true thing. It's like it's considering. So the answer is amma, which is yes, great king. Yadi na pati sandeha. So if there was no rebirth, bhavisati, one will be liberated, mutto, papakehi kamehi, from evil actions. And then we have Yasmachiko, which we can read as but since, great king. And then once again, now the verb is expressed in present indicative, which means now this is the truth. This optative expressed the sort of incorrect conclusion, but the reality of it is expressed in the indicative, pati sandahati. Since one is reborn, tasma, therefore, so notice the yasma is completed with the tasma. Yasma, this is the relative, and this is the demonstrative. So a correlative construction. We've had yo and so, and young and tongue, and now we see yasma and tasma. So therefore, one na parimutta, mutto, fully liberated. One is not fully liberated, papakehi kamehi, from evil actions. So that's the first part, and I'll cover the second part quickly. And so we say, we have katam, so the questions keep coming. Hang on a second. So the question is, how? How is it, Bhante Nagasena, one is not transmigrating and one is reborn, or one is reborn? Notice the chas here in the position in the Pali way. We would in English have the cha prior to the second word, but here the first one is reflected back, which we don't translate, and the second one comes after the verb. So how is it that one does not transmigrate and one is reborn at the same time? And he says, opamang karohi. So this is our new form of the verb called the imperative, which is sort of like an order in a polite sense. It's not like do it, but it's a nice way of doing it. So this is the verb karoti, to make or to do. So please make, and the object of the verb opamang, it's a simile. So please make a simile. Please give a simile. And here we have this interesting type of simile. Just as, yata, great king. So here again we have a indefinite pronoun, ko plus chi, plus the emphatic eva, which is linked together with the pronoun by the letter D. So please don't think, when you see this, you're thinking of devas. It has nothing whatsoever to do with devas. It's kochid eva. So if someone, puriso, some person or another, and then we have our optative, which expresses this possibility, not necessarily the way it really is, but it's a consideration. If one would light, or if one would kindle, and the object padipang, a lamp, and then we have padipato. This is the other new form of the ablative with this to suffix. From another lamp, kinnu ko, is it that? So padipo, that lamp. Sun kamanto, that's present participle, is transmigrating from that. Here's the ablative, from that lamp, the first lamp, so to speak. Certainly not. And so that is a recap of our first reading. And I guess I'll quickly ask if there's anybody who has any questions about what we've just covered in terms of, please, only grammar or syntax. Okay, we have one question. Linda?
Yes. Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
Stephen, I would like to ask you about the word ati.
The verb, yes.
The word ati, does it mean is there or there is?
Either one. It's indicating an existence. But it could be forming a question in the way you're saying, yes.
But how do we know when it is as a question? I guess.
Well, this is a question.
Right.
He's asking a question. So we could say there is a being, there is a person, there is someone transmigrating from one body to another. Or we could say, is there a being transmigrating from one body to another? I think the meaning there would be the same.
Okay.
It's maybe more just of a translation question, but the sense of it, there is. Okay?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I see another question from Tan. Are you there? If you're there, you're not unmuting. Maybe we'll come back.
Hello?
Hello, yes, now I hear you. What is your question, please? No, now you're muted again. I'm sorry. We'll have to move on. Let's try Jillian. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
I have the same problem that Linda had, but can I ask the question in a different way? In that sentence, is there a marker that it's a question? Is the k in kochi, that's the only likely k I could find?
No, the kochi really is a indefinite pronoun meaning anyone. It doesn't really contain a question, I would say.
So how do we know it's a question?
Well, if you read it, does it seem like a question? Or does it seem, it could seem like a statement, I guess. But we have the answer, certainly not.
Okay, so it's like in English, we can ask questions using statements if we use rising intonation. And of course, we don't know what they were doing with their intonation.
Don't you think so? Right, don't you think so? Yes,
exactly.
I think that's right. Okay? All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So maybe we'll go on to our next.
Stephen?
Yes.
You said Bhante Nagasena, that is vocative. It's vocative because he's being addressed or because the name ends in A?
No, it is the vocative because he's being addressed.
Because he is being addressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I said the answer, Diane, is vocative, that would be a vocative. Bante is actually also a vocative, but it's not a personal name. It's a title. Does that answer your question, Diane?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. So remember that it is a vocative, I would say, yes. Yeah. Bante Nagasena. He's being invoked, so to speak. Okay, let's move on. So now we have our second reading from the book. And this is from the Anguttanik Nikaya, Salha Sutta. And I like the sutta very much. Let's see what we can say. So the question, here's another question. And it's a very common way that we find the Buddha asking a question himself. So what's interesting, I think, is that very often when people ask the Buddha questions, he responds in turn with his own question. He doesn't just always lecture. He asks, Tung King Manyata, what do you think? What do you think about that? He's always interested what his students are thinking. And so here, this is a very common phrase, Tung King Manyata. And so this is, I think the verb is manyati. It has the sense of to think or to have an opinion, and it's in the second person plural, and I think it's actually ambiguous. It could be in the imperative or it could be in the present indicative because they both share this case. So I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't perhaps matter. So king is what, and tongue is that. So what do you think about that? Salha, vocative, this person. Ati lobo. So here we have the verb ati, to be. Is there lobo? Or it's a question, so is there? So it's asking about the existence. Does lobo exist? Or does greed exist? He's asking, what do you think, Salha? Does greed exist? Evang Bante. Certainly, Bante. Yes, sir. Yes, of course, he says. And then, so the Buddha continues, Abhijatiko ahang salha etam atang vadami. And so here we have a feminine noun, abhija. Notice that long A, this is the nominative. It's a direct speech. Abhija, this concept is placed in sort of these air quotes. Abhijatiko. Ahang, I, that's the personal pronoun, first person. Vadami, I say. And then we have this word etang atang. And that has the sense of the meaning of that. And so putting this all together, we can perhaps start with the personal pronoun. Ahang vadami, I say, the meaning of that, or is abhija, greediness or covetousness. So this feminine noun. So he's, very often we see lots of sort of very closely related words, basically synonyms being used to sort of really hone in on the concept. So is there greed? Yes. And so Salha, I say the meaning of that is greed. Or we could even just say greediness. Or we can just say, I call it greediness. Or I call it covetousness. And we can go on now. Ludoko ayang salha, abhitalu panang pihanati, adinang pi adiati, paradarang pi gachati, musapi banati, yang sahoti digaratang ahitaya dukayati. This is actually a question, which doesn't seem so much like a question in this context, but I think if we looked at the sutta as a whole, we would see how this is a question. That's why I put it in brackets, the question mark. And so that's also why we have an answer. Yes, Venerable Sir. And so here we have another word. One who has lobo, one who has greed, is called a ludo. So this ayang this is the demonstrative pronoun, nominative, the closest one, this person right here, this greedy person. And then we have this adjective further describing this person, abijalu, is covetous or greedy. We have to kind of struggle to find enough English words to express all these Pali words. So notice I've had to add my verb to be in here. This is an equational sentence. It's equating the noun and the verb. But in English, I need the is. Otherwise, it wouldn't really make such great sense. And so what does this person do? Panhang pi hanati. So hanati is to kill, or to destroy. Panang, which is life. Actually, in a literal sense, it has the sense of a breathing thing. It's the Sanskrit version of this is prana, like breath. And so one kills living things, breathing things. And notice we have this piece P, which means and, also to, but this first one just tells us that we're about to have a list, and we wouldn't translate it in its first instance. The second thing this person does is adinang pi adiati. So adiati is to take. It's very much related to adadati, which we had earlier, or dadati, but adiati is another form of that verb. So he takes adinang, what is not given. And also P, paradarang gachati. So gachati, of course, we know is goes. Adara is a wife, and paradarang means another wife. So literally, this means he goes to another wife, which has the sense, we would say in modern English, he commits adultery. He cheats on his wife. And then we have P, also, Musa P Banati. He speaks Banati, he speaks falsehood. Musa, he speaks falsely. And now we have something which is a bit idiomatic. And so we have Yang Sa Hoti. So this connected together, Yang plus Sa is actually Yang and Asa, which has been smushed together for ease of pronunciation, and we have this apostrophe to tell us that there are some missing letters, so to speak. Of course, if we heard this, we would grasp it. Like if I said don't, I would probably know that I meant do not. So Asa, which has several meanings, and it can be a little bit of a tricky thing for students to get the right one. But this Asa is the dative form, or one of the dative forms of ayang. So that which for him, so the asa here is functioning as a personal pronoun. So that which, so I'll first translate this literally in order, although it won't make great sense in English. That which for him, that's the asa, hoti, is, that's our verb to be. Then we have this adverb, which is indeclinable, which means that it never changes, digaratang. It has the literal sense of a long night, but it means a long time. It doesn't really mean a long night. And it's in the accusative simply because it's functioning adverbally. It's not the object of a verb. And then we have two datives, ahitaya, for harm, and dukkaya, for suffering. And so one of the ways the dative case is used is the sense of serves for, or tends to. And so putting this together, I've translated it literally, but a better translation, an idiomatic translation would be, which will bring him harm and suffering for a long time, which is to say that these actions will bring him harm and suffering for a long time. But in a literal grammatical sense, once again, it says that which for him is long time for harm and for suffering. So this is an instance, and there are many of these, where the Pali is working in a different way than it does in English. And so if we translated it literally, it wouldn't make any sense to a listener. And so we have to fix it up in English, so to speak. But it's important to understand what's happening grammatically. Okay. I see perhaps we have a question from Catherine. Catherine, are you there?
Yes, good. Let's get up.
I can't really hear you. Are you there?
Hear me now? Yes.
A little bit. Yes, that's better.
Okay. Back to the question, Tam Kim Manyata. As you said earlier, it should be on the plural side. But
I'm afraid I can't hear you. You're very broken up. I can't understand you. Can you say it one more time, maybe?
Okay. Manyata.
Yes.
Manyata, which is the second person plural.
That's right.
But Buddha was talking to Salha.
That's right. That's a good question. Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I should have spoken to that. Thank you. So yes, there seems to be a mismatch between the person, Salha, a single person, and the second person plural, Manyata. What do you all think about that? And so I have to say there could be maybe two possibilities of why it's this mismatch. I'm not entirely sure what is the actual reason. One possibility is that it's a form of polite speech. So perhaps by addressing somebody in the plural, you're giving a polite way of speaking. Or perhaps, and maybe I think this is maybe the actual reason, that Salha, although he's a person, he's actually sort of a spokesperson for a large group. So there is kind of a strange thing there, and those are the two possibilities that I could think of, that Salha is acting as a spokesperson for a large group, and so although he's only addressing the one, we understand that the Buddha is addressing this kind of group of people, or perhaps it could also function as a type of polite speech. And so I hope that answers your question. That was a good question, Catherine. Okay, we have, I think, one more question from Huang.
No, it's not a question. I just try to do the next. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Why don't you then? We can move on. And so why don't you take it the second one? So we're doing the 3 unwholesome roots, and now we're up to doso. Yeah. Go ahead. First, read it in Pali.
Okay. Thong King Manyata Salha Ati Dosoti Evang Bante.
Okay. So tell us about that.
So tongue is that, Kim is what, and Manyata is come from the verb manyati, to think. So what do you think, Salha, about anger?
So what is ati? Tell me about the word ati.
Ati is to be.
Yes. So is there doso, or does hatred exist?
Does hatred exist? What do you think? Does hatred exist?
Right. Does hatred exist? Or you can say, is there hatred? Either one. But both are reflecting this sort of existential idea of ati. Is there this hatred? Yes. Evang bante. Yes, sir.
Yes, the yeah.
Right. Okay, now let's go on.
Viyapado tiko ahang salha etamatang vadani.
Okay.
So Viyapado.
What does it mean? Vyapado.
Vyapado.
It could mean ill will, Or it can mean malevolence. We're just trying to find another word that kind of goes with hatred. So perhaps ill will. Do you know that term, ill will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aham.
So what's ahang?
Aham. So
That's right. And the verb?
the verb is vadami.
I say. Or,
I see.
and
So
then what is etam atang?
etang, atang. We just say that. Etang, the meaning of that.
Right.
So I say the meaning of that. I call it you will.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Let's maybe try another person to do the
Thank
next
you.
sentence. Thank you. Very good. Okay, now we have Hui Lin. Can do for us perhaps the next sentence from Duto.
Sure. Toko ayam Salha. Yaya Hanachito. Hanampi Hanati. Adinampi Adiyati. Haradarangpi Gachati. Mustapi Banati. Harampi Katataya Samadakoti.
That's just a missing piece. Yeah.
Yamsa Koti. Yaratam Apsaya Hayati.
Okay, that's a big
Bambanti.
sentence. Right. So what is a duto?
A wicked person,
Right.
or a hateful person.
Yeah, it's a noun, and it's going with the pronoun ayang, this wicked one. And then it's being further described with this
wicked
word.
one,
Byapanachito.
he has a mind full of benevolence or hate.
Right. Very good. And then what does this bad person do? What is panhang pihanati?
Kills living beings, or
Yes. And then adinang pi adyati.
takes what is not given.
Takes what's not given. Yes. And going on.
And it goes for someone else's wife. I guess
Commits adultery. Right. Musa pi banati.
Speaks falsely, or
Right.
tells lies.
That's good. And then I've stuck in here, this is sort of the extra credit phrase because it was omitted from our reading in the book, but it's found in the Sutta. And it simply means he gets others to do the same. He gets others to do likewise. And so take it from Yang Sahoti, Diga Ratang Ahitaya Dukaya. So what does Yang Sa represent? Yang plus what?
Yamsa represents that which for him, or
Yes.
dative terms of ayam, personal pronoun.
Right.
That which for him is for his harm or suffering for a long time.
Yes, right. His disadvantage or harm and suffering for a long time. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Now let's try Catherine.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now we're up to our
Can you hear
third.
me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Okay, good.
Kim maniata Salha. Ati mohoti. Evam bate.
Wait, hold on. Let's just do this part first.
Okay. What do you think, Salha? The Ati mohoti will be, is there delusion?
Right. So that's a question.
Bante. Yes, Venerable Sir.
Good.
Continue.
Yes, please.
Okay. Avijati ko ahang Salha. Etamatam vadami. Muho ko ayang Salha. Avijagato ha nam pihanati. Adinang pi adiyati, paradaram pi gachati, musa pi banati, yamsa hoti dikeratang ahitaya duka ya.
Good.
Evam Bante.
Okay, what does all that mean? What is a mulho?
Avijja piko ahang. Avijja
But,
is ignorance.
but what is mulho?
Ignorance.
I missed that. What is a mulho?
Mulho is deluded.
Right, and it goes with
The person who is
deluded. Right. It's one that has moha. And it goes with ayang. So this deluded person, Salha,
is a deluded person. That means an ignorant person.
very good. Yes. Go on, please.
Avijja kato, he who is deluded or he who is ignorant,
Yes.
kills living beings.
Mm-hmm.
What is not given
Mm-hmm.
goes for someone else's wife.
Yes.
Speaks falsely.
Yes.
In the Yamsa Hoti, that one is which to him there will be, or which will bring him harm and suffering for a long time.
Right. I like your
Yes,
translation.
Venerable Sir.
Excellent. Which will bring you harm and suffering for a long time. I like that. Thank you. Very good. Okay. Now let's look for a second at the next piece together. So the next question is Tangking Manyata Salha Ime Dhamma Kusalava Akusalava. What do you think, Salha? Now we have our pronoun ime, these, dhammas. So this is the plural. We're talking about these qualities expressed in the nominative plural, and ime is the demonstrative adjective, is going together with that. These dhammas wholesome, va, or unwholesome? And the answer is akusala bante. Unwholesome, sir. And the next question comes, savajja va anavajjati. So, are they blameworthy or blameless? And the answer is savajja bante. They are blameworthy. They're reprehensible. Bad things. The next question is, vinyu garhita va vinyu pasata va ti. Are they condemned by the wise ones, or are they praised by the wise ones? And the answer, of course, is vinyu garhita. They're condemned. So these are the three unwholesome roots, and of course the actions that they provoke are condemned by wise people. And that is our piece of Salha Sutta. So I would ask if there are any questions about the grammar of this sutta. Did anyone find anything confusing that they were not able to understand? This is your time to ask. Diane, everything clear with you?
Yes, everything's okay here.
Okay, good. I think we have one question from Catherine. Catherine, are you there?
Sorry, no, not me. I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, no problem. Well, I think we have a question from Christopher. Christopher, are you there?
Yes. So in the earlier part where there was the T and the ko, I had sometimes trouble understanding the ko. Is it just an emphatic? Like ludho ko ayam.
Okay. So yes, the ko is emphatic. It is a clitic, and it means something like indeed or certainly.
Okay.
It's certainly this greedy one, right?
Okay. And see, there was also sometimes T, not the quoting T, but the other T that I thought wasn't sure what it meant sometimes.
Can you tell me where?
I think maybe just further down, like ya pado ti ko aham etamatam vadami. So
Mm-hmm.
yapado ti, does it mean this ill will, or is
No,
it?
it's just
Oh,
really a
oh,
one-word direct speech. I'm
okay.
not sure why that one is in quotes.
Okay, so it is quoted. So by the word yapado, or I mean by this the word yapado, the same meaning, kind of.
Yeah, it just means that he's sort of like saying, it's this.
Okay.
I say it's this.
Okay, so that T does not mean it's not the demonstrative adjective. It's not this, but it's
No, there's no demonstrative
yeah.
adjective T.
It's not like this. It's the phrase or the concept yapado.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have another question. Shirosha?
Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
I just had a question about a word.
Okay.
In the line savaja va anavaja.
Yes.
So I guess they dropped the S when you do you go for the opposite of savaja. So anavaja is the opposite of savaja. So it's
I guess it's
you drop
vaja.
the S because of pronunciation reasons. The S is dropped, I guess.
Well, I guess it's sa plus vaja. Sa vaja or anavaja. I guess that's how I would have to break it up, but I'm not entirely sure. Is that
okay.
what you mean?
No,
It would be something
no,
like sa vaja and unvaja.
Like when you negate it, I guess they drop the S.
I don't see where the S is dropped.
No, for anavaja.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it's something like with blame or without blame.
Without blame. So I guess they just drop the S because it's easier to pronounce.
But it's the sa would probably have the sense of with, not it. It's
Oh,
not
I
part
see.
of the word. It's sa
Oh, I see.
plus vaja.
So vaja is like blame. So
I would have
sa
to
would
look.
be-
I would have to look
Okay.
it up to be exactly sure, but that would be
Okay.
my guess. Take a
Okay,
look in the
thank-
dictionary.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. Okay. Then maybe we can move on. So I think we have, what do we have? Yes, this was all my notes. I hope you found that helpful. And now we're up to our third reading from initial readings. And I've added one sentence which is not in the book because I think it sort of helps understand the context of this sutta a little bit better, but I'll just tell you what it means here. And so the sentence that I've added, which is in the square brackets, akusalang bhikkhave pajahata, sakka bhikkhave akusalang pajahitung. So here, akusalang is functioning as a noun and it's neuter. So this is a neuter nominative. And we have our vocative monks. And here we have the verb pajahati, a very common verb to abandon. We find it now in the imperative, second person plural. Abandon the unwholesome monks. So this is the imperative. It's sort of like the Buddha is giving a direct instruction. Do this. Pajahata. Abandon akusalang. Sakka bhikkhave akusalang pajahitung. And so here we have a new word, sakka. It has the sense of it is possible. And then it typically goes with the infinitive form of the verb. So pajahati in the infinitive is pajahitung. So it is possible to abandon the unwholesome, which I love. In other words, if it wasn't possible, I wouldn't ask you. Okay, now we move into the text which is actually in the book. Yasmachiko bhikkhave sakka akusalam pajahitung tasmahang evang vadame akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati. So here, the word yasma, which is originally, you might recognize it as an ablative, because it has that sma ending. It really functions as the word since. And it goes, yasmachiko really can be taken together. So, since sakka, it is possible, pajahatung, to abandon, akusalang, the unwholesome. And now we have two words that have been joined together. The tasma, which completes the yasma, so this is the relative. Once again, this is the demonstrative. And it's been joined with the personal pronoun ahang. So it's tasma plus ahang. So tasmahang. Therefore, I vadami, say thus. And this is our direct speech. This is like the quote he's giving. And that's why it has the T and quote marker. Akusalang bhikkhave pajahata. Monks abandon the wholesome. And so the next sentence now. Akusalang cha hidang bhikkhave pahinang ahitaya dukaya sangvateya nahang evang vadeyang akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati. So here we have the usage of the optative form of the verb. So the first one is the verb sangvatati, which I hope we all know now quite well, leads to, and it takes, as we know, the dative. And so we have our two datives here preceding it immediately. And so I would take this almost chahidang, this pahinang. So here, if the abandon this, ikusalang chahidang bhikkhave pahinang ahitaya pahinang. Okay, so the pahinang is the past participle pajahati. If abandoned unwholesome would lead to harm and disadvantage, so if the unwholesome would lead, so this is our sort of theoretical and the optative, would lead to harm and suffering, nahang evang vadehang. So once again, we continue this hypothetical with the optative. I would not say thus, nahang evang vadeyang. I would not say thus. And again, akusalang bhikkhave pajahata. Monks abandon the unwholesome. Yasmachiko, but since bhikkhave, akusalang pahinang hitaya sukhaya sangvatati. So here we have the actual statement, the true statement. And so therefore sangvatati is found in the present indicative. But since the abandoning or the abandonment of the unwholesome leads to benefit or welfare or advantage and happiness, therefore I say thus, monks abandon the unwholesome. Okay, so I hope that was clear. So we have this juxtaposition between the optative to represent the theoretical, which is counterfactual, the wrong idea. If it were like this, that's the optative, but then we have the indicative to let us know which The real way is it's the state of affairs. So maybe I can ask for a volunteer to do this thing one more time. And I would love to have people who haven't done it yet. We have a very small population of people who answer questions and a rather large population who don't seem to ever want to answer questions. Let's see. We have Pat. Pat, are you there?
I am, yeah.
Okay, good. So can you start with Yasmachiko Bikave?
I want to answer questions, I'm just afraid.
Okay, well, you're doing well so far.
Okay. So, Yasmachiko Bikave Sakka Akusalang Pajahitum Tasmahang Evang Vadami.
Okay.
So, Yasmachiko is essentially since, O monks. Sakka, it is possible.
Mm-hmm. Then go right to the infinitive of the verb.
So this is to abandon.
Right.
Yeah, the unskillful or the unwholesome.
Mm-hmm.
This tasmahang guy.
So tasma is completing the yasma. So since, and then tasma, therefore, I.
Therefore, I see. Therefore, I is ahang.
That's right.
It's blended. Okay. Therefore, I thus speak.
Yes.
Kusalang bhikkhave pajahatati. So abandon the unwholesome.
Yes. Go on one more sentence.
Akusalang jahidang bhikkhave ahinang ahitaya dukaya sangvateya.
Okay.
Nahang evang vadeyang. Okay, so the unwholesome. This hidang is a blend with idang. I'm not sure what the he is.
The he is an emphatic, and it's blended with idang. So we have the sandhi. Sandhi means the joining together of two words. Sandhi. And it's he plus idang. So the idang is going with the akusalang. This unwholesome.
Let's see, this unwholesomeness.
So if it has the sense of, so if we take the cha, because the cha is really going with a optative, it's maybe better to render it as an if because it's a hypothetical. That's sort of one of the big roles of an optative verb. So if this unwholesome is abandoned, right? A pahinang. So if this abandoned unwholesome, I guess literally, if this abandoned unwholesome sangvateya, so what is that?
Were to lead. Were to lead.
Were to lead, and then we have our two datives.
So to harm and to suffering.
Right, so that's the sort of, that is the first half of this hypothetical sentence, then go on.
Nahang evang vadeyang, I would not say.
Right, I would not say. Very good.
But so I would not say abandon the unwholesome monks.
Right. So if doing this would lead to your suffering, I wouldn't tell you to do it. That's what he's saying. Good. Well, thank you very much. You're doing great. Okay, now we can try fiacra. Perhaps I've said it right.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can you then go from Yasmachiko?
Okay. Yasmachiko bhikkhave akusalang pahinang hitaya. Am I in the wrong?
Yes, oh, no. I haven't scrolled. That's my fault.
Yeah, okay. So Yasmachiko bhikkhave akusalang pahinang hitaya sukaya sangvatatiti tasmahang evang vadami akusalang bhikkhave pajahatati.
Right. Just one T here in sangvatati, not two.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes.
It's not, there's no end quote there. That would be really confusing.
Sorry, yes. I think it was just from reciting another thing that had sangvatatiti. It sort of It's just a reflexive.
Yes. So just take this, if you can see my highlighted bit.
Yep. So since bhikkhus, so the so the
So akusalang is the subject, and it's being modified by this thing which is really functioning as an adjective, abandon.
Yes.
But since the abandoned unwholesome.
The unwholesome, yeah, and then so it leads to
Right.
Since the abandon of the unwholesome leads to the hitaya sukhaya, which is the pleasant benefit.
Right, or the welfare and happiness.
Welfare and happiness, yes.
So notice, very good. So notice how now the verb is expressed in the present indicative, which tells us this is the true statement. This is not hypothetical. Go on.
Hypothetical, yeah. And then so tasmahang, therefore, evang, I say, vadami, I say, and then he says, abandon the unwholesome.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then maybe we can have another person to try the sort of converse. We have Ken.
Okay.
Ken, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Would you mind reading for us from Kusalang Bhikkhave Bhaveta?
Kusalang Bhikkhave Bhaveta Saka Bhikkhave Kusalang Bhavetum.
Okay, let's take that. So can you tell me something interesting about Bhaveta? What does that mean?
It's the imperative.
Of
Bhavati.
Bhaveti. Yeah. And which means what?
To increase or grow or develop. That's
right. So it's actually related to the verb we've just been looking at, to be, which is bhavati.
Right.
But it's sort of a form that's called a causative. So to cause to come into being, to cause to make, is to develop. So develop monks the wholesome. Right. And so go on, please.
Saka bhikkhave kusalang bhavetum. O monks, it is possible to develop the wholesome.
Right. And what do we call this form of the verb with the tung?
The infinitive.
Very good. Would you continue?
Yasmachiko bhikkhave saka kusalang bhavetum tasmaham evam vadami
Good.
kusalang bhikkhave bhaveta ti.
Okay. So tell me, how can we take Yasmachiko?
Since since it is possible to develop the wholesome, O monks.
Good.
I say increase the wholesome, O monks.
Very good.
Or develop the wholesome.
Excellent. Very nice. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question going
yes,
back
please.
to the last one?
Yeah.
Because I did not interpret akusalang as the subject. I took pahinam as the subject. It's a participle functioning as a noun, as the subject, and akusalang is the object of that participle. So
it could be. Yes.
Abandonment of the unwholesome.
Yeah, pajahata would be, as you said, the imperative form of the verb. Monks. So you could read it that way too. Maybe that's even better. Monks abandon the unwholesome. That would be, as you say, the accusative, the object of the abandoning. Well, it could be that
I'm up before, after Yasmachiko bhikkhave akusalang pahinam, the very beginning there.
Yasmachiko bhikkhave sakka, there?
No, the previous sentence.
Yeah, the very first sentence, which I have in brackets.
No,
That's the first one of number 3.
no, I'm sorry. I'm looking actually at the second sentence. I had it copied out differently. It's Kusalang cha hidam bikave pahinam ahitaya dukaya samviteya. So I took the that past participle of pajahati as functioning as a noun, as a subject.
And then how do you
So it
take
would be the abandonment of the unwholesome.
Yes, but that would put akusalam in sort of a different case, wouldn't it?
It's accusative, yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to ask.
It's possible. I have to think about that. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we'll go on. Jillian, are you there? Can you do... I've actually forgotten where we're up to. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I've forgotten where we're up to, but I think it might be number 7, the one that's referenced, grammar point 7.
Kusalang
No, you've
bhikkhave
done
bhaveta.
that.
We've done that.
Done that, sorry.
I think...
Must be Yasmachiko bhikkhave kusalam bhavitam.
Yes. Let's
Right.
do it from there.
Okay. That's just the last couple of lines of...
Right. That's the end of
I'm
this,
in the
this
right.
sutta. Yeah, do that
Very
for us.
okay. Yasmachiko bhikkhave kusalang bhavitam hitaya sukhaya samvartati tasmahang evang vadami kusalam bhikkhu bhavatati.
Bhavetati.
Bhave, stress on the A. Okay.
Bhavetati. Yeah.
Bhavetati. Bhavetati. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm back to, was I reading?
Yasmachiko.
Yes. And
So what is Yasmachiko?
since.
Very good.
And it mixes with tasmaham, which is a since then construction.
That's right.
Question about that. You said earlier that Yasmas was originally in the ablative. When it's used in this way, it becomes indeclinable?
I'm not sure if I would call it indeclinable. It's functioning not really as an ablative, I would say.
Right.
Maybe.
So does it have ending when it's meaning?
Does it have what? I'm sorry.
Does it ever change its suffix when it is translated as since?
You mean, could it mean something besides since?
No, I mean the ma, the r, the ablative r. Would that ever change?
Yasma has the sense of since.
Right.
If you want, we can look it up. I don't know. I'm
I'll
not quite sure I understand your question, but maybe if we look, if I could find it.
Okay.
So it says even here in the short form, the ablative yasma has this adverbial sense. Maybe look at it even closer. It doesn't really give an English translation, but it has the sense of since.
Sort of answers my question because adverbs don't decline.
Yes, it is a declined, so I would say perhaps it is a declined relative pronoun, but it's functioning adverbially.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, monks. Since the giving up of the wholesome leads to benefit and happiness, then I say, give up the unwholesome, monks.
No.
Oh.
No, at least if we're not, assuming we're looking at the same 3 words, kusalang bhikkhave bhaveta.
I'm sorry, we're not. I'm up in the back, the previous paragraph. I'm having a lot of trouble negotiating my way around these texts. Okay, I'll try again. Because monks, development of the wholesome leads to benefit and happiness, then I say, monks develop the wholesome.
Very good. Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. So that covers our initial readings. I think maybe we'll take a couple minutes to look at the beginning of the further readings because it's very much similar to some of these initial readings. Let me pull up my file. Okay, so this is hopefully looking rather familiar from what we've looked at before. In fact, is there somebody who would like to go ahead and do this one for us, the very first few sentences? I see a lot of raised hands. Maybe we'll try Sharosha again. Are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Are you prepared to do this first one?
Let me just go for it. I'm reading off your screen. So, Tam King Manyata Salha Atti Aloboti.
Yes.
So, Tam King Manyata would be what do you think? Salha is Alobo, which is the, I guess, generosity. Is
Yeah.
generosity real?
It could be.
Does generosity exist?
Right, or non-greed. It's interesting that the Buddha, I just want to point out, just maybe this is being too strict, but the Buddha does interestingly express these wholesome qualities as the negated unwholesome qualities. Mm-hmm. And so some translators will be very strict to the Pali and translate it that way, non-greed. But it is possible, as you've done, it's not wrong, to substitute a positive word. So either way, I think is okay. So please continue.
Evam Bahante, which is yes, Venerable Sir.
Yeah. Okay. Please go do the next sentence.
Next one. Anabrijja tiko aham salha etamattam vadami aluto.
Okay. No, that's the next sentence. Just the vadami.
Just the vadami. Oh, sorry, I went to the next. So anabrijja.
Yeah, what is that?
Is non-covetousness, I guess?
Yeah, and what form is it? What case and gender?
I don't know.
It's nominative, singular, feminine.
Okay, feminine, okay.
So it's a noun. This, and it's going with ahang. Oh, well, so not really. It's not going with ahang. I say...
so non-covetousness is what I mean by this?
Yeah.
Or is what I say it means, Salha?
Yeah, so this is in quotes with the T, so he's sort of declaring this. That's what this T means. It's a kind of like a declaration. Non-greediness, indeed, I say, is the meaning.
Okay.
Right? Okay, yes. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe we'll try Christopher for the next sentence.
Aludho ko ayam salha anbijalu eva panam hanati na adinam adiyati na paradaram gachati namusa vanati parampi na tatataya samadapeti yamsa hoti vidharatam vitaya sukhayati.
Okay.
So aludho, so is it the person who is not grasping, who is not greedy?
Yes, that's right. It's the noun form of one with a lobo. So this non-greedy greedy one, perhaps, in a literal sense.
Greedy one.
And then he's further described by Unbijalu.
It's a non-covetous person.
Yes.
Thus, indeed, does not kill living things.
Right.
Does not take what is not given. Does not go to another's wife. Does not speak falsehoods. Does not cause others to do these things. Thus, for him or her, there is benefit and happiness. Indeed, Venerable One.
But very good, but you forgot one word, which is digaratang, which is an adverb.
For a long time.
Right, for a long time. It literally means a long night, but it really doesn't mean that. It really means for a long time.
Okay,
right.
That's for him or her. There is for a long time happiness, benefit and happiness.
Excellent, excellent. Just so. So yes, this is the positive side of what we had. It would be it's nice to leave on a positive note. So thank you very much. And I think we'll have to leave it there for today. And we'll continue much of Lesson 3 further readings in our next week class. I hope everything is clear. It's mostly a repeat of much repeated material, see? And so I think we'll leave it there, and I have to ask our librarian, Kaiti, if she's here, if she could make a few announcements for us, please.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Kaiti. I'm the part-time librarian for the Wu Memorial Library. Great to meet everyone here. Regina cannot be here tonight, so Stephen asked me to make some announcements. So I'm just going to take a few of your minutes to make this announcement. First, I would like to share you a story that I overheard from a respectful monk. One time in a class, he encouraged everyone to learn Pali. He said that the past Buddha, means the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, he spoke Pali. And he says the future Buddha will speak the same language. So he says, let's prepare ourselves to listen the Dharma. So that's the story I want to share with you. So I just want to share that I'm so happy to see everyone here. I wish that if you can manage on Labor Day weekend, you'll be able to join our 4-day-long Abhidhamma retreat. This year, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is going to teach us the famous meditation manual, The Path to Purification. This book is not easy to understand. He is going to guide us the wisdom part of the section from chapter 18 to 23. So a lot of people are looking forward to it. We only take 200 students, and right now we already have 170 students registered. And I just feel like you are all such a great students. I really wish that I can see you at the retreat as well. So if you can manage, please join us. It will be from September 4th to September 7th. I think you won't regret it. It's a great class. It has been going on since 2012, I think. Yeah, 13 or 12. It's been a while, and each year we have more students join us. And also, I want to let you know, as usual, on Saturday morning, Bhikkhu Bodhi teaches the Sutta study class. The retreat information and the Sutta study class, you can look for information from the BAU's website. It's www.baus.org. So you can learn information over there. And the last, Stephen and Regina, they held the Sutta study as well on Thursday evening and Sunday evenings. So you can visit the suttaandthecity.com for more information. And And the last, I want to thank Steve for your teaching and for everyone's participation. I'll see you all next week. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Kaiti. Okay, thank you all very much. I hope you all return.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you next time. Come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.